Hey everyone, welcome back. It's time for another deep dive. And wow, this one is a big one. We're tackling AI and cybersecurity today, all thanks to that intriguing LinkedIn article you sent over the three-body problem. I gotta admit, that title really piqued my interest.
It is a pretty powerful analogy. It really captures the whole dynamic we're facing these days, protecting ourselves from AI, protecting ourselves with AI, and then this whole other layer protecting AI itself.
Yeah, that last part, that's what really stood out to me too. I mean, we always think of AI as this protector, right?
Yeah.
But the idea that it needs protection itself, that's kind of mind-blowing. So where do we even begin with something like that?
Well, the first thing we need to understand is the difference between AI safety and AI security.
Okay, I'm listening.
So AI safety, it's all about preventing unintended consequences or harm. Imagine a self-driving car that just doesn't recognize a stop sign. AI security, on the other hand, that's all about protecting AI systems from actual malicious attacks. People trying to do harm.
Oh, okay, so less about accidents and more about deliberate sabotage. Like someone hacking into that self-driving car and making it malfunction on purpose.
Exactly. And the scary part is these attacks can be incredibly sophisticated. We're not just talking about simple denial of service attacks here, trying to shut down a system. We're talking about AI-specific vulnerabilities that most people don't even know exist.
Okay, now you've got me intrigued. Give me the rundown. What kind of vulnerabilities are we talking about here?
Well, for example, there's something called prompt injections.
Prompt injections.
Yeah, so this is where an attacker actually manipulates the input that's given to an AI, right? To try to force it to do something that it wasn't supposed to do.
Oh, so it's like tricking the AI into misbehaving.
Exactly. So imagine a language model that's supposed to be writing marketing copy, right? With a carefully crafted prompt injection, an attacker could trick it into revealing sensitive customer data or even generating harmful content.
Wow, that's unsettling. It's almost like planting a subliminal message that only the AI picks up on. Kind of creepy. What else is there?
Okay, another big one is data poisoning. Have you ever heard of that?
Data poisoning. That sounds ominous.
It is. So this is where attackers will actually subtly alter the training data that's used to teach an AI, to corrupt its learning process. Remember that Microsoft chatbot, Tay? The one that turned into a racist troll in less than a day?
Oh, wow. Yeah, I remember that one. That was a PR nightmare for Microsoft.
That was a classic example of data poisoning.
So they basically fed the AI bad data and it went rogue.
Exactly. And it just highlights how important it is to protect the integrity of that training data, right? Because if the AI is learning from corrupted data, it's going to produce corrupted results.
Yeah. That's a little terrifying to think about, especially if it's an AI system that's making decisions that impact people's lives.
Yeah.
So how do we even begin to protect against this stuff?
Well, the good news is a lot of the security best practices that we already use, things like strong governance, robust architecture, the whole zero trust principle, these things provide a really solid foundation.
Right. So we're not starting from scratch.
Exactly. But we do need to layer on some AI-specific security measures. So, for example, there are now AI-specific scanners that can actually analyze code for vulnerabilities that traditional security tools might miss.
Oh, okay. So like a superpowered antivirus, but for AI.
Pretty much. You could say that. And then there are also things like prompt shields. These act as a filter for the input that's given to AI, blocking any potentially malicious commands.
Okay, so kind of like a bouncer for the AI, making sure nothing shady gets in.
Exactly. And the exciting thing is there are actually companies out there now that are specifically focused on AI security.
Yeah.
So Cloudflare, for example, they have their Cloudflare firewall for AI, which is designed to protect AI models from attacks.
Oh, wow. So Cloudflare's on the case.
Yeah.
Anyone else stepping up to the plate?
Absolutely. There's robust intelligence. They use AI to actually secure other AI models in real time. And Salt Security, they have this AI-powered API security platform.
It seems like you need AI to fight AI these days.
Well, in a way, you're absolutely right. And, one of the most crucial aspects of all this is protecting those data pipelines that feed into AI systems.
Yeah.
All those, data ops, MLOps, DevOps processes.
All of those acronyms, it's like a secret language sometimes.
Right. It really is. But they're essentially the arteries of an AI system, right? Constantly pumping in data. If those pipelines are compromised, the whole system is at risk. That's why things like regular scanning, hardening integration points, strict access controls, these are all so critical.
So securing the AI itself is already this massive undertaking.
Yeah.
But what about using AI for protection? Now that's where things get really interesting, right?
Absolutely. This is where AI is really starting to shine,
Yeah.
revolutionizing the whole cybersecurity landscape. Think about areas like threat intelligence and threat hunting. Traditionally, those were very manual, time-consuming processes.
Yeah, I can only imagine, like security analysts just staring at screens full of data trying to connect the dots. Sounds exhausting.
It is. And humans just can't keep up with the sheer volume and complexity of the data that's being generated today. That's where AI comes in, right? It can analyze data at a speed and scale that's just impossible for humans to match.
So it's like having a superpowered detective on the case,
Right.
able to spot those subtle clues that might go completely unnoticed by a human eye.
Exactly. AI can sift through mountains of data to identify patterns and indicators of compromise that could signal an impending attack. And it can do it in real time, which is absolutely crucial in today's threat landscape.
Okay, so it's not just about reacting to threats. It's about actually getting ahead of them. What does that look like in practice?
One of the most exciting areas is extended detection and response, or XDR for
Without
short.
XDR. Okay.
Yeah, it's essentially a centralized security hub that pulls in data from all sorts of sources. Firewalls, antivirus software, intrusion detection systems, you name it. And then it uses AI to analyze it all.
So think of it like mission control for a security team, with AI acting as the brilliant strategist, right? Analyzing the data feeds and spotting those red flags.
Yeah.
That's pretty slick.
It is, and there are some incredible companies doing amazing work in this space. For example, you have Microsoft with their Copilot for Security. It uses AI to assist security analysts in their investigations.
I've heard of that. It's like having a super smart assistant that can answer your questions and help you prioritize threats, right?
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. And then you have companies like Recorded Future. They use AI to provide real-time threat intelligence from sources all over the internet.
Oh, wow. So it's like having eyes and ears everywhere, keeping tabs on the latest hacker chatter and attack strategies.
Exactly. And then there's Google's Security AI Workbench. They're leveraging AI for everything from threat detection to incident response.
And of course, Cloudflare is in the mix too, constantly expanding their platform with defensive AI to protect against these ever-evolving threats. It's incredible to see how quickly this technology is advancing.
It really is, and it's all thanks to the power of AI. But of course, with great power comes great responsibility, right? That brings us to the third part of our three-body problem, protecting from AI.
Right, because as amazing as AI is for defense, it can also be a powerful weapon in the wrong hands. I'm curious to hear more about that.
Well, one area of concern is data overexposure. Even when data sets are anonymized or encrypted, a sophisticated AI can sometimes uncover hidden patterns that reveal sensitive information.
So even if companies are trying to do the right thing and protect our data, it might not be enough.
It really highlights the need for constant vigilance and a multi-layered approach to security. Fortunately, AI can actually be part of the solution here as well. There are AI-powered tools that can scan, classify, and label training data to prevent this kind of leakage.
So it's like a double-edged sword. AI can be used to exploit data, but it can also be used to protect it.
Exactly, but it's not just about technology. Strong data governance policies, readiness exercises, ongoing cleanup procedures, these are all essential for mitigating these risks. There's a great article called Big-Eyed Sets, New Standard for AI Security that really delves into best practices. I recommend checking it out.
Will do. But I have a feeling the bigger concern here isn't accidental data leakage, but rather the deliberate use of AI by malicious actors, right?
You're absolutely right. That's where things get really scary. The BDO's State of Cyber Report 2024 actually identified AI-enhanced cyber attacks as the top challenge facing organizations today.
And it's not hard to see why. We've already seen examples of ChatGPT being used to create incredibly convincing phishing emails that can bypass traditional spam filters.
And then there are those AI-powered robocalls that can mimic human voices so perfectly. It's practically impossible to tell they're fake. Remember that LastPass incident where an employee was targeted with a deepfake CEO call?
Oh, wow. I didn't realize that was a deepfake. So they essentially used AI to impersonate the CEO and trick the employee into giving up sensitive information.
Exactly. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. AI can automate attacks, making them faster, more efficient, and much harder to detect. Imagine an AI constantly scanning the internet for vulnerabilities and launching attacks without any human intervention.
That's terrifying. Like a swarm of AI-powered bots constantly probing for weaknesses. It feels like something out of a sci-fi movie.
It does, doesn't it? But this is the reality we're facing. And as AI technology continues to advance, these threats will only become more sophisticated and harder to defend against.
Okay, so we've got AI being used to launch attacks. But what about larger scale threats? Is there a risk of AI being used to target critical infrastructure, like power grids or transportation systems?
That's a very real concern. A cyber-physical attack where an AI is used to disrupt or damage physical systems could have devastating consequences.
That's pretty chilling. It feels like we're entering a whole new era of cybersecurity with AI at the center of it all.
We are. And navigating this complex landscape requires a fundamental shift in how we think about security. We need to be proactive, adaptable, and constantly evolving our strategies to stay ahead of the curve.
So where do we go from here? How do we prepare for this AI-powered future? Yeah, that is the million-dollar question, isn't it? It feels like we've opened up this whole Pandora's box of potential threats.
Yeah.
How do we even wrap our heads around all this? And more importantly, what can we actually do about it?
Well, it is a challenge, that's for sure, but it's not insurmountable, you know? Remember that three-body problem we started with? Securing AI, using AI for protection, and then protecting ourselves from its misuse. It all comes down to a multi-pronged approach.
Okay, multi-pronged. So where do we start?
First things first, we need ongoing research and development of new security tools that are specifically designed to address these AI-related threats.
So kind of like what we talked about earlier with the AI-specific scanners and prompt shields.
Exactly. We need more innovation in that space to stay one step ahead of the attackers.
So it's like a constant arms race, but with AI instead of missiles.
You got it. But technology alone isn't enough, right? We also need robust regulations and international cooperation to establish some ethical guidelines for AI development and use.
Right, because even with the best intentions, things can go wrong if there aren't clear guidelines in place.
Exactly. And this isn't just a government or industry issue. It's about empowering individuals to be more aware and discerning in their online interactions.
So we need to educate people about the potential threats.
Yeah, teach them how to spot those red flags and encourage them to think critically about the information they encounter online. You know, not just blindly trusting everything they see.
Right. A healthy dose of skepticism is in order. Don't blindly trust anything you see or hear, especially if it seems too good to be true.
Exactly. Double check those emails and voicemails. Be wary of suspicious links and really think about what personal information you're sharing online.
It sounds like a lot to keep track of.
It is. But it's really crucial in this new landscape.
Yeah, I hear that. It's not just about protecting ourselves from AI-powered attacks, though, right? It's also about using AI to enhance our own security practices.
Absolutely. Remember those AI-powered threat intelligence platforms and XDR systems we talked about? Those are incredibly valuable tools for organizations to stay ahead of the curve and protect their data.
Right, so it's about using AI as a shield, not just fearing it as a weapon.
Exactly. Finding that balance, understanding both the risks and the opportunities. That's the key.
Well, this deep dive has certainly opened my eyes to the whole world of AI and cybersecurity. And I gotta say, that three-body problem analogy, it really does hit the nail on the head. It perfectly captures this whole delicate dance we're engaged in.
It does, doesn't it? And it really underscores how important it is to stay informed, stay vigilant, and keep adapting our strategies as the technology continues to evolve.
Absolutely. Well, on that note, I think it's time to wrap up this deep dive. But before we go, I have one final question for you, dear listener. In this ever-changing world, what steps are you taking to adapt and protect yourself, both personally and professionally?
It's a question worth pondering. The future of AI and cybersecurity is in our hands. It's up to all of us to ensure that AI is used for good, not for harm.
Well said. And if you want to explore this topic even further, be sure to check out all the articles and resources we've mentioned. We'll include links to everything in the show notes. Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and stay safe out there.